Okay, hello. Uh, I think you and I know why you're here, and it's most likely because you have an AMD GPU and you are faced with this annoying repetitive error that would just, ruin your gaming time. Well, we're on the same boat. Uh, TLDR, I've tried many things like the internet suggested, like resetting the shader cache or doing clean installs of the drivers and so on and so forth, and nothing solved it. I've noticed that it would happen only during the games that would be not sure if that makes sense, graphically demanding, like modern titles like Battlefield 5 or Metro Exodus or whatever. Whenever I was running those kind of new games on high presets, ultra presets, whatever, the game would always crash around like, not the game, sorry, the driver itself would crash after like 70-ish minutes of playing. And I started looking up the page here on the performance tab, then tuning, and then where you do the global tuning. The only reason I was here, it was because I've been playing around with the fan speed control. I just wanted to have the fans running constantly because I didn't want my GPU to be thermally limited, if I could say so. So I did the usual, like enable the advanced controls for that and all that. And then I also wanted to play around with undervolting the GPU because the internet suggested that it was actually a good habit to have for your AMD hardware, whether it would be a CPU or a GPU. So I did that on myself. I played with the voltage, and the crashes would start to appear, like regardless of what I had here, like for the voltage or I don't know. Oh, by the way, I don't recommend bothering to enable the VRAM tuning. For me, it always crashes. Yeah, sorry. So then I started to question what's wrong with this. By the way, I haven't touched that. For that, this number will be the number that AMD would go by default, like trying to go from this tab from default. It would take the values from this tab and apply it here and here. And I didn't question it for a long time. Until out of curiosity, I checked out the official AIB's specification page for this GPU. In my case, it's a 7900 XTX, the Nitro Plus version from Sapphire. And I looked up the boost clock and the game clock. And like you probably noticed now on the first site, these numbers are much smaller. Much smaller to what we have this on the max frequency. So by my own logic, doing a small deduction would be that I think the AMD Adrenalin software is giving way too much overclocking headroom for the GPU, more than it's capable to do it in reality. And I was like, wait, so if this is the very maximum that the GPU could go in a burst, so obviously you would not constantly run on this. AMD was telling it that it could go even 300 megahertz higher, which is a lot for a GPU. So what I've done is that simply, I looked up what would be the absolute maximum allowed for this, which in my case would be 2560 megahertz, which I did apply it. And then the minimum frequency, I set it to something that, I'll make sure that the games wouldn't stutter, because the clock would just bounce down too much. Like, I don't know, I've set it like personally to around 2000. It doesn't matter. Like basically the higher it is and, closer to the max frequency, it should be more stable at the cost of, higher power usage. Speaking of power, what I've also done to just make sure that, it works fine, even though I underclocked it, it was like I think the default one, I'm gonna look up the numbers I had before, but what I wanted to point out is that I also did the power tuning, and I basically gave it like even a 5% headroom, for more headroom for the power consumption. I was like, even though I did an undervolt, I just wanted to make sure that during those peak times of having the GPU stressed out, it would have plenty of energy to use. Anyway, so that was it. So basically, the solution is that regardless of what AIB version you have for your GPU, I'm pretty sure this is not the case only for this very specific GPU. It could be as well, I don't know, 660 from Gigabyte maybe. I have no idea if they have. They probably have, most likely. So most likely the solution will be the same for you. Just try to apply the same technique, go to the specification, official specifications from that AIB processor, and look up the numbers. And in this case, for this GPU from AMD, which I think is the RDNA2, you would have this very peak of frequency. So basically try to go around this number. I mean, if you want, you could try to go a little higher, or maybe even a bit lower, but my recommendation is to be very close to this. And yeah, that's it. Of course, sometimes the presets would get reset on some crashes. The only crashes that I would have in the last 3 months since I applied the solution I presented you earlier now, it would only be just because I lose power. For some reason, the AMD Adrenaline is crashing and is losing the preset I just applied. For some odd reason, I have no idea why it does that. But anyway, but the simple solution is to... Oh, I didn't want to do that. The simplest solution would be to make sure you save that preset. In my case, I saved it and it should be like this. I'm gonna show you how mine looks. The preset I have been running for 3 months without any crashes. Sorry. So I'm slightly lower than the maximum frequency from Sapphire, like 5 megahertz, something like that. This is my frequency I choose for minimum, but once again, you can go as high as low. It doesn't matter, it's up to you. You can play around with this value. And once again, I have not enabled the VRAM tuning. Even though this was ticked, I didn't go like aggressive on it, so I just let it like that. And then this is my fan curvature. Again, it's nothing related to the power usage. This is what I gave it to the power limit, and yeah, that's it. Just apply the changes. And in case you want to save them, you can just export the profile and then save it wherever you want. And it's going to be an HTML, I think, file. No, it's going to be an XML file, actually, containing your settings. Yeah, that's it. Hopefully it's going to work. Good luck.